Good afternoon, dear students. So we'll start the class now. Okay. It's audible and visible with the slides, right?
Yes, sir.
Please, yes. Thank you. Okay. So in the previous class, we were discussing about the different parts of the different types of scheduling. So there starts with construction schedule, material schedule, labor schedule, equipment schedule, and expenditure schedule. So in that we have completed this construction schedule. So in this construction schedule, just we'll note down all the activities with the start date and end date, and whatever the total expenditure are there for those activities. Okay, and here we need to collect the required data to prepare this construction schedule. This one also we have discussed in the previous class. Just with a glance, we need the total, I mean the various operations such as main activities and sub activities are required to prepare this construction schedule, and quantities of various items of work which are involved in this construction part, and how many numbers of labors are required, machines and equipments, and sequence which activity has to start first and which activity has to start next, and even for those activities start date and end date. So these all data we require to prepare this construction schedule. And moving on to the next part, and even we have explained this particular part, that is this construction schedule represents x-axis and even y-axis. I mean, you can see here. So in this part, you can see the activities, list of activities through y-axis, and through x-axis, you can just say the time durations which representing in terms of weeks. Okay, and here even you can see the length of the bar that indicates the total duration of that activity. So like that, you can provide start date and end date for every activities and sub activities, then you can prepare this particular schedule. Okay, so this is what we have discussed in the previous class. And moving on to the next type of scheduling, that is labor scheduling. So here the main purpose of this labor schedule is to decide the number and durations of skilled and unskilled labors which are required for the execution of different types of the works on different dates. Okay, so initially what we have done, we have planned so many activities and main activities and sub activities, and for those activities we require resources. So in that resources, one part we can consider as labor, right? So here we are noting down the different number of labors on different schedules, and then we are going to provide the required labors for those activities. Okay, so that one only we need to mention, I mean we need to prepare that particular schedule, so that before starting that particular activity we need to prepare with respect to this labors. I mean how many numbers of labors are required, that one we will come to know just by referring this labor schedule, so that we can prepare the required number of labors before starting that activity. Okay, and here labor schedule which depict the manpower requirements of the project in tabular form in various stages. So here you can see this particular table or schedule that represents different labor classifications, that is starts with mason, barbender, carpenter, skilled laborers, unskilled laborers, so on, right? So this is just an example schedule table, so that how exactly they can prepare this labor schedule. So here you can see the durations with respect to month they have given, that is March, April, May, and again they have divided 1 month into a number of weeks such as 4 weeks, right? So here week 1, week 2, week 3, and week 4. So here they have given the required number of labors to carry out those activities, right? So that one we will come to know by doing an estimation and the total durations which we kept for those activities. For example, as I said in the earlier class, there will be a one main activity such as construction of wall. So for that the number of labors are required 10. So if we consider 10 labors, so that we can complete that wall in 2 days. That only we have increased the number of labors from 10 to 20. Simultaneously, we can reduce the durations, okay, from 2 day to 1 day, right? So if 10 members can complete that work in 2 days, similarly for 20 members, it can be completed in 1 day. So like that, we need to assign the work depends upon the availability of the resources in the construction site. Okay, if less number of labors are required, then obviously the work days are going to be increased. Okay, so if you want to complete that one in a well in advance time, I mean as per the planning schedule, you need to plan and you need to make sure with the availability number of the resources which should matches with that particular duration. Okay, and here similarly they have given here for first week the mason 7 numbers are required, and similarly for second week 11 numbers, third week 14 numbers. So like that we need to prepare this schedule, and before starting this first week we need to be ready with these class of labors. That is mason we require 7, barbender we require 5, carpenter 2, skilled laborers 15, unskilled laborers 10. So like that we should be ready with labors part before starting that activity. Okay, and moving on to the next part, the advantages of labor schedule. So if you have prepared this labor schedule, what will be the advantages to the construction project? Okay, the required number of labors can be arranged well in time, as we discussed. When we know that particular schedule before starting an activity, we should be ready with those required number of labors. Okay, and by noting the actual workforce regularly on the chart, a direct measure of labor expenditure on site can be obtained. So once if you prepare this particular labor schedule, so you will come to know that how much cost or how much money you need to be invest, or you need to be get sanctioned from the top management just to pay for the labor wages. Okay, so even to calculate the total expenditure on the labors also we require this labor schedule. So easily we'll come to know that what will be the total cost for that particular work just by considering the labors. Okay, and it helps in efficient and optimum deployment of the labor form in various section of the project. So once if you fix the number of different number of labors for different works, it will be very easy to assign those works for only for that much numbers. If it in some cases it's like a construction will be going on, suppose you think that you don't have any labor schedule, so how the things will get changes. A construction of wall will be going on, and a contractor will not be knowing that how much numbers of labors are required for this, right? So once if you planned well in advance with this labor schedule, only that much number you can provide that, or else you will get confused as a contractor, like how many numbers of labors we need to send there, and what about the total durations it may take to complete this work. So many questions will get arises. So before starting those activities, we should be very thorough with availability resources, and by taking that resource, how exactly the work will be carried out. Okay, so here as labors are arranged as and when required, be riding upon the nature of work, ideal wages may be reduced, in turn reduces the labor cost. So here as simple as we can say that the availability number of labors that directly proportional to the time duration. So if the number of labors are required more, easily the total duration will be is going to be reduced. Similarly, the cost may get increased because instead of 10 members they are working with the 20 members. So for 1 day, instead of paying for 10 members, we are paying for 20 members. Okay, so like that, even the accounts also it will get deferred when we increase the number of labors, and even it may react with cost also. And moving on to the next schedule, that is material schedule. So here also it's same. Excuse. So for material schedule, usually it will be required to carry out any civil engineering works. For example, in the starting stage, you will be noting down all the main activities as well as the sub activities. So for those sub activities, you require certain materials. For example, you can consider construction of a slab. So for construction of slab, what and all materials you require, what and all resources you require, right? So like that, you can differentiate those resources into number of parts, and then in that you can pick material schedule, I mean the material part, and then you should note down all those materials you require: cement, sand, coarse aggregate, and then water, right? And then again you require reinforcements, formwork, so many materials you require, right? So like that you are noting down the required quantity and required type of materials for every activity, and then you are going to assign that one before starting those works. Okay, the main purpose of material schedule is to know the requirement of various construction materials well ahead of the start of the project. So once if you prepare this material schedule, you will come to know that yes, on this particular schedule we require so and so materials with so and so quantities. So easily you can purchase those one well in advance, so that it won't be much trouble while executing the further works. Okay, and so that no stage during the execution of project work is held up for want of material. So it should not be with a shortage of materials, so that you need to plan thoroughly, and according to your plan you need to purchase the material that how much you require to construct those particular civil engineering works. Okay, and here the material schedule is the schedule which indicates the date of delivery of each type of materials at site, so that the material should be delivered and the project site before they need. So here the main advantage of preparing this material schedule is before starting that particular work, all the required materials should reaches to the construction site, so that how much quantity of materials are going to be stored in the construction site and how much they are using in for the construction site. So each and every details will be there, I mean how much material is coming for the site and how much materials are utilizing for the construction site. So we can track easily how exactly we are using the materials effectively and efficiently. So for to maintain that effectively and efficiently of the usage of the materials, we need to maintain this material schedule. Sorry. The material schedule may be prepared either month wise or week wise depending on the extent of the project and storing space. So here this material schedule either you can prepare with respect to month wise or week wise. So if you prepared with respect to month wise, usually the quantity of the material will be larger than the week wise. Okay, so that is again dependent upon the space availability in the construction site. So if the construction site having large space just to store the materials, you can prepare for the month wise, or you can prepare for the week wise, and for every week you need to purchase the materials before starting any activity, and then the similar thing you can utilize in the construction work. So here you can see that material schedule, right? So here also it is divided with respect to month wise, March, April, May, and here you can see the description of the material, which type of materials are required. It's just for the example purpose. Okay, and here you can see cement, sand, coarse aggregate, steel, timber. So here even they have given the total quantities also, right? Sorry. So here for first week we require 1,000 bags of the cement, and for second week we require 150 bags of cement. Like that we can divide the requirement of the cements in terms of bags with respect to week wise. Okay, because here the main reason to divide that one with respect to week wise, that is again depends upon the availability space in the construction site. Okay, similarly for sand they have given the total quantity here, right? So once if you prepared with respect to week wise, at the end of the project you will come to know that how much bags of cement have been used in the construction site. Okay, how much quantities of sand and other types of the materials are used in the construction site. So we will be having a tracking system on each and every aspects just by preparing these schedules. Okay. And moving on to the next part, that is equipment schedule. Okay. So here equipment schedule, that is mainly comes in the updated part of the civil engineering techniques, because in the earlier days there were no equipments. Everything it can be maintained and monitored just by taking the manpower. Okay, now the updated things have been arrived, and instead of the manpower, just to complete the work with the safety aspects and as early as possible compared to the manpower, the civil engineering concepts, I mean certain projects have been depends on this equipments. Okay, so here the success of modern civil engineering projects, that is purely depends to a large extent on the proper use of construction equipment. So for civil engineering activities, in some or other works you require equipments just to carry out those civil engineering works. For example, you can take the construction of foundation, you require the excavation equipment there, such as dozers and all. And similarly, if you want to erect the roof members and all, usually the roof members will be placed at the top floor, so that time again you require cranes and all, and other equipment such as while mixing the concrete, pumpable concrete machine is required. Like that, for every civil engineering concepts or projects, in some or other activities, instead of the manpower you need to prefer the equipment part, just to reduce the work from the for the manpower, and even with respect to the duration part also. If you have used this equipments easily, the total duration can be reduced. Okay, and if the machines are properly maintained and usefully deployed, they not only accelerate the completion of the project but also bring down the expenditure on the project. So might be you can ask the question, instead of the manpower, if you have used the equipment, usually the cost will be more, but here they can say even you can bring down the expenditure on the project. So that is nothing but what, just you compare with respect to work as well as the duration. So if you have preferred the manpower, usually it is going to take around 15 to 20 days, right? So for up to 15 to 20 days you need to pay for manpower. Okay, instead of that, if you prefer the equipment here, so you can complete it in 1 day or 2 day, so that remaining days of the payment to the laborers, that one it can be reduced, right? So even the work will be faster. That is again directly proportional in the, if the duration is reduced, again that income or profit of that construction work also will be more. Okay, and here the schedule is prepared before the start of the project to decide the type and number and the dates on which the particular equipment is needed. So once if you prepare with the equipment schedule, you will come to know that on which date, how much duration, which type of equipment is required. Okay, so well in advance you can select, or you can inquire with that particular equipment, and you can bring that one to the construction site, so that it will be much useful to work as per the schedule part. Okay, so you need to prefer first which type of equipment is required, how many numbers, how much numbers of how many number of days which is required, and then on which date it is required. So each and everything will be already known, so that we can arrange well in advance. And once if you prepare this the equipment schedule, what will be the advantages to the construction site, I mean the construction project? So from this schedule, delays in the work that may be occur either due to the non availability or breakdown of the equipment can be determined. So once you prepare this equipment schedule, so whatever the delays in the work get occurs, you can use this equipment that they can make over that one with respect to the duration part. And in some cases non availability of the equipment will be there, so that time also you can prefer this schedule, and you will be knowing that how exactly you can complete that work. And in some cases might be it may comes with respect to breakdown or repair and one minute. Sorry for the inconvenience. Okay, so using this schedule, the timely arrangements can be made for renting or deploying particular equipment at a particular time. So once if you prepare this, as we said, we'll be knowing that on this particular date, we require this equipment. So you'll be taking that one well in advance so that the usage of that equipment will be only in that particular duration. So one hour will call just to avoid those total durations. We need to plan accurately while preferring the types of equipments. So while selection of the equipment, which is most important part with respect to starting date and end date of the particular activity. Simply we will bring that one and we will place that one in the construction site. And if we are not following the proper schedule, again we need to pay the rent for that equipment. So that it should not happen. This one, it has to be done as per your planning itself. So start date and end date, it should be very fixed, and within that particular fixed date only, that usage of equipment should come. Okay. So till now we have discussed the different types of schedules. Which are those? Can anyone please? Which are the different types of schedules? Yes, please. Can anyone answer? Different types of
Construction,
schedules.
construction schedule,
Very good. Construction schedule,
material schedule,
labor
material schedule, labor schedule.
equipment schedule.
Okay, equipment schedule. Very good. Then over. Only this much. Only four are there.
another one is this
Which one is that?
economic something.
Construction schedule. Which one is that? Okay. Here it is. Expenditure schedule.
It's
Right?
a
Fifth one. So expenditure schedule, which is purely dependent upon these first four types. Okay. So here construction schedule, material schedule, labor schedule, and equipment schedule. Once if you prepare these first four schedules, so you will come to know that total budget which is required for each schedule. I mean, for example, for construction, how much cost will be there, and for material schedule, how much cost, and for labors, what will be the total expenditure, and even for the equipment. So once if you prepare this entire schedule, that expenditure will be there. So whatever the money we are investing on that project, so which is going to divide with respect to month wise, and again subcategorized it, which is going to divide with week wise. So like that money whatever it will releases from the top management, it reaches to the it I mean it is investing on these first four schedules, and the same thing we are going to track that one in expenditure schedule. Okay, understood? Any difficulties with respect to these types of schedules? Because in most of the exams they have been used I mean asked these types of questions, that is different types of schedules. Okay, any doubts? Yes. Shall we move to the next concept? Someone can answer. It's audible, right?
Yes, bro.
Yes, yes. Okay. So moving on to the next concept, that is someone is joining now. Who is that? Vihan. After many days. Ajit Patil joined recently. Okay, no problem. Okay, moving on to the next concept, that is management styles. So here in the construction or in any type of the institution or any type of the organization, different types of managements will be there. So it will be having certain styles with respect to command as well as the taking inputs from the lower management. Okay, so here you can see the different types of managements. First one, it starts with the autocratic management, then consultative management, followed by persuasive management, and then democratic, and at last chaotic management. Okay, so there are different five types of management styles are there. So each will be differ with respect to commands as well as the decision making process. We'll start with the first one, that is autocratic management. So here excuse.
Fall back to safe zone.